All right, good afternoon and good morning, everybody. We are at 1 o'clock, which is our scheduled start time, but we've still got a bunch of people popping up into our attendees thing. So we're gonna give those folks a couple extra seconds to get on before we really get the presentation started. We're really excited to see so many familiar faces, but also quite a few new names on our distribution list here, so or attendee list, I should say. So um, we're really excited to have the opportunity to introduce you to Acumatica's Manufacturing Edition. We just got back, Jay and I just got back from Acumatica's Partner Summit event, which also there was for customers as well, but they were just announcing some really cool new features that are going to be coming out in the next couple of years, or next part of this year with their next edition. And we don't have access to all of that information because it's still in their own demo systems, but we're hopeful to get access to that here in the next few months so that we can show you all those new features as well. So with that, we're going to kind of keep you guys on hold for a second, and then we're going to get things started in probably the next minute or so. Thank you. All right, so again, wanted to introduce myself again. This is Derek Lokowitz, and I'd like to welcome you to our Lunch and Learn on the Acumatica Manufacturing Edition. Joining me today are our presenters, Jay Porras and Bob Donald. Before we get to things too crazy and get too far down the line here, I just wanted to make a couple of quick housekeeping announcements. So first and foremost, we are recording today's presentation so that we can send it to the folks that weren't able to make it. Obviously, we'll send it to you folks as well if you want to review it again. But that said, I've got everybody placed on mute so we can minimize as much background noise as we can. You'll still have the ability to interact with us by asking questions or raising your hand via the GoToWebinar interface. So we encourage you to go ahead and don't be shy about any of that. We've got some time designated towards the end of the presentation to make sure we answer all of your questions. So like I said, don't be shy. Second, you should have received your Grubhub voucher via email. If you're new to our presentations, you will have received a welcome email from Grubhub with instructions on setting up the account and getting that all set. If you've been with us before, the voucher will just automatically be added into your account. So you just have to go in and access it, and the funds would be available to you. Please make sure that you use it within 24 hours. It's only good for the day. So take advantage of that, please, and I hope you guys enjoy your lunches. So that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the agenda. All right, perfect. So what we're going to do is you'll see, I'm going to hand things over to Jay here in a few minutes or a few seconds, hopefully. He's going to walk you through who Donas Group is, do a quick Acumatica company overview, and some features of the manufacturing edition, and then he'll hand things over to Bob, who will run you through the demonstration of just basic functionality and some of our favorite things within the tool. Again, we'll go through the questions and then a few next steps with you guys, and then we'll wrap it up. So we'll get you the rest of your afternoon back after that. So with that, Jay, go ahead and take things over.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you everyone for attending today. Since 1996, the Donas Group has been working with a wide variety of customers in many industries, including manufacturing customers. We attribute our longevity to our commitment to staying current with technologies and certifications. This has allowed us to support and service our customers and develop long-term relationships. Developed for resilient businesses, Acumatica Cloud ERP is the most usable, adaptable, and affordable business management solution available today. Built for mobile and telework scenarios, Acumatica easily integrates with the collaboration tools of your choice. Acumatica delivers flexibility, efficiency, and continuity of operations to growing small and mid-market organizations. With internet availability, you can connect to your system with many of today's interactive devices. Whether desktops, smartphones, laptop, or even Alexa, you can access and work from the location of your choice. There's no per-seat premium, so your technology can scale with your business instead of being a drag on your growth. Every authorized person can access, create, and receive the information they need to drive business, regardless of whether they are frequent or casual users, internal employees, external vendors, partners, or customers. With Acumatica's flexible consumption-based licensing plans, you only pay for the computing power you need. Our pricing is designed to be stable and predictable, geared to your growth. Unlike other ERP offerings, Acumatica has multiple deployment options to meet your organization's requirements. They include software as a service, or SaaS, and this is hosted in the cloud and is offered on a subscription basis. AWS is Acumatica's preferred public cloud platform. Private cloud, or PCS, is also subscription-based, and here you host the applications wherever you want, on-premise or at a third party of your choosing. Third option is the perpetual traditional method, and here you purchase the software up front, pay an annual maintenance fee. You have the ability to move between options should you require. Acumatica prides itself on customer satisfaction. The G2 Customer Satisfaction Survey, released earlier this year, ranks Acumatica highest among the leading ERP software offerings. Acumatica mobile application is built with responsive and adaptive design to automatically resize screens to fit the available space on your smart device. The mobile application interacts in real time with your Acumatica software, keeping all of your activities current. Shown are some logos of companies that are utilizing Acumatica's manufacturing modules. In manufacturing, all are available within the package. Some are optional add-ons based on your unique organizational needs. Bills of material and routings are within the core of the manufacturing application and represent part of the base of the package. MRP allows for planning what needs and should be produced in a timely and efficient manner based on your company's rules. Production scheduling and costing advises what needs to occur out on the shop floor and is the vehicle for reporting activity. It's kind of a what needs to be done and how did we do. APS optimizes manufacturing into a powerful real-time production and execution application, allowing users to accurately schedule production within the shop resources, work centers, machines, etc. With the flexibility and integration of Acumatica estimating, you can create estimates for stock and non-stock items, as well as items not currently in your inventory, and provides production orders within a multi-site environment. Attribute values and quantities can be validated for min, max, and feature options based on your inputs. Dimensional calculations and formulas determine materials required for components selected. Multi-level configuration creates multiple production orders for each configured manufactured item. Project accounting in manufacturing provides the ability within production to associate orders with a project to track costs, etc. Projects within the many facets can be handled, as well as you get a total picture of what's going on out on not only the shop floor, but within the entire organization. Acumatica is designed to work within many production environments depending upon business demand requirements. Customer requirements often dictate how the production process is driven. Project-centric allows tracking all activity and costs from revenue through expense, providing details to analyze project performance and profitability. Here you see a sample of manufacturing environments that Acumatica supports. Oops, back one, sorry about that. And now I'll turn over control to Bob, who will provide a demonstration of the software. Take it away, Bob.
I'd like to welcome you all to our Acumatica Lunch and Learn event for manufacturing. My name is Bob Donald, and I'm very excited to be able to walk you through an overview of the manufacturing edition. I'm going to start with a few PowerPoints. I'd like to start off by saying the manufacturing edition is comprised of 3 core modules: bills of material, material requirements, planning, and production. The bills of material acts as a basis for production where we capture costs, material, labor, and then we use that bill during the production cycle. We will then cover all of these modules through today's demonstration. Acumatica also provides optional modules for our manufacturing edition. If your business requires a product configurator that is both rules-based and includes a pricing roll-up as well as an estimating module, we can provide that directly within the Acumatica Cloud ERP. Additionally, we also offer advanced planning and scheduling, which would provide finite capacity planning and scheduling, as well as shop floor data collection and project manufacturing. In addition, we also offer full engineering control with notices and controls, as well as project manufacturing. Here's a typical environment within Acumatica. You can see in a make to order scenario, we might start with a customer, creates a sales order, and move that into the production system, which then updates inventory and then shipped out the door. Of course, in a make to stock environment, we would simply start with a production order and go right into inventory and out the door. We support engineer to order as well as configure to order, job shop, repetitive, and beyond. This visual also highlights how labor, purchasing, and inventory are all integrated throughout the seamless manufacturing workflow, which we will take a look at together. The environments that are supported, as Jay mentioned earlier, are make to stock, engineer to order, make to order, configure to order, job shop, project centric, repetitive, and batch. So how to do, I will go to Acumatica. Acumatica is a browser-based ERP system running in the cloud. It is supported by all major browsers in use today. I happen to be using Chrome for this demonstration. We are a completely role-based system, so each one of the users that accesses Acumatica has security-driven permissions. Every person who logs into the software, and by the way, you have unlimited users that can log in, are assigned a role. All security within the software is then controlled by these roles. Since it is in the cloud, that means that your data is accessible to you and your staff anywhere you have an internet-capable device and an internet connection. The system is designed to be configurable. The whole idea was to minimize using a programmer to customize the look and feel of the product. Changes can be made fast to the system with no code changes. These changes can then be tied to a role or individual so that any particular individual can have their own custom results on their screens. This is a multi-company, multi-currency product. In my example, I have 3 companies and 4 branches. Everything that we'll be seeing today is standard Acumatica right out of the box with no customization or third-party products. That being said, there is a huge community of ISVs, which are independent software vendors, that provide additional functionality to the base software. EDI is a perfect example of an ISV product. We also organize our software based on the concept of workspaces. So over on the left-hand side here, this is considered our workspace menu, where we group the items together based on business processes. So if I ran over to the purchasing workspace, for example, if you're on the purchasing team, you're very likely to spend the majority of your time in the purchasing workspace. These workspaces have very intuitive design. We try to categorize transactions in one section, reports in another, and so on, so that they're consistent throughout the entire product. It's very easy to modify these workspaces and make them your own. For example, if there's just a few of the purchasing reports that we want to see that aren't here, I would just go into the maintenance, take off one of them, oops, bear with me. And now I'm down from 5 to 4 reports. It's that simple to move things around on the reports themselves. What's nice is that as the user, what the changes I make to the screen are unique to me or the group that I belong to, so that no matter where I log into the system, it follows me wherever I go. Acumatica really prides itself in the concept of low code or no code changes to the system. We want to be able to personalize your ERP experience without needing to call up a developer or pay money anytime you want to make a simple change like we just did. Workspaces are one example of that usability and personalization. You'll also see that Acumatica gives you the ability to determine what are your favorites that you use over and over again. This is another common example of usability. So let's say I'm on the finance team, and I'm currently I'm just entering transactions, running a profit and loss statement. I can select these 2 menu items as favorites, and you'll see I've got a little gold star next to these items because I've selected them as favorites. So if I go over to my favorites menu, you'll see that under finance, those 2 items are selected, which allow me to go directly to them. So what I can do from a workspace standpoint is I can create everything that I want in my favorites, and I go to just one place. Again, personalizing the system based on the user and user preferences, and again, it's for this person, for this login only. Front and center on the screen, as many of you probably noticed, we're looking at the Acumatica dashboard. Now, software companies are known for throwing around buzzwords. Buzzwords like real-time and business intelligence. What is business intelligence, and what can the power of real-time business intelligence do for your organization? Well, we really think it's more than just running a report. We think it's about having multiple strategies and tools at your fingertips to help you analyze your data the way you want to analyze it. A dashboard is one critical example of that. When we talk about the connected workspace, when we talk about usability, dashboards provides notification, reminders, and tasks to each one of the users inside Acumatica. It's your access to the single truth. I'm going to go over to the Production Manager dashboard. This is giving me real-time access to drill into any of this information that's being presented. So, of course, I see what production orders are late, what orders need to be released, and top variances for the month. And not only am I getting these grand totals, but like I mentioned, we can drill down into this information now and see, so I can see what those orders are that need to be started, and I can drill right into any of them to begin the manufacturing process. Beyond just drilling being able to drill into that data, we also have different types of dashboard tools that allow you to filter down on your data. So when I'm looking at this production view, I'm seeing all the orders that are late. These are the type of features that allow Acumatica to be awarded one of the most friendly ERP user systems that exist today. Being able to utilize these dashboard analytics, we also want you to be able to design these dashboard analytics. So one more time, without needing to call up a developer, I can simply design this dashboard and I can start to move items around. I can simply just drag and drop some of the tiles. I can resize them, or I completely new data. One item that I did want to bring up is that each one of these panels is actually a report behind the scenes, which makes them unique. And as you can see, I can scroll down. I basically have unlimited number of reports that I can put onto my screen. And this is what I want to see when I sit down in the morning. This is what I want to see when I come in. Now, when I talked about it earlier on the design, it's very easy to move tiles around on the system. And as you noticed, it resized it for me automatically. I can also create new data in here. We call them widgets. And these are all the ones that are available to me. There's quite a variety to work with. So one more example of Acumatica provides a true user-friendly ERP to make these types of dashboard changes without needing to learn extensive coding or programming. Each one of these dashboard tiles is driven by what we call a generic inquiry. And I'll pick on late production orders. Basically, it's a query into the database based on the rules that you've set within the screen. As you notice, there's some headers across the top. These are all ones that were designed by someone to basically sort the data in different ways. It allows us to bypass the need to create a custom report every time we need unique analytics. So an example, we've created an inquiry to display late production orders. And then I can take this generic inquiry and get great information from it as is, but now the possibilities are almost endless with how I treat this generic inquiry. In this example, you can see we have filtered or highlighted this inquiry based upon certain conditions. And if I bring up the filter, and I'm not going to go in detail with it, but basically using standard English, I'm telling it, based on these rules, that's what makes it a late production order. And I can save it as a new rule, or I can keep the one that's there. And perhaps, I want to reuse that filter. That's what the save button is for. As you can see, very intuitive and easy to do with it from inside of Acumatica. Constantly giving the user the power to create their own analytics and make their own direct decisions based on the data that's being presented to them. Keeping on this concept of a very user-friendly ERP, you will also see throughout Acumatica the way of providing you the ability to modify columns, modify fields, etc. So from this generic inquiry that I'm looking at, if maybe that status column is more important to me, I could just take that status column and drag it over to the front. It's that simple. And again, it stays with my login. So when I come back to the screen, that's the view that I see. Same thing as if there's too many columns on the screen. If you notice, if I scroll to the right, okay, I see customer ID. If I didn't want customer ID as part of this report, I would just go in, find customer ID, send it over to the holding bucket, and say, okay, it's now not on the report. Again, you haven't lost it. It's there for retrieval. It's just cleaning up on the report. The only other thing I wanted to mention on the report is every single report within the system has the ability to export to Excel. We work very closely with it. So you have the ability to sort the data the way you want and then send it into Excel and then do even more things to it. This allows the user to have an easier look and feel and be a bit more efficient based on the data. As I said, you can move columns, modify columns on sales orders, purchase orders, etc. It's consistent throughout the entire product. Once you learn how to do it on one screen, you've just learned all the other screens. All right, so back to the dashboard. We talked a lot about dashboard notifications, all of the colors, the reports on the screen. But I think notifications are another very important piece of Acumatica to bring into consideration. Besides the dashboard notifications, we also can provide automatic email notifications. So every time you get assigned to, let's say, a support case, you can automatically receive an email in your inbox with that case number and a link to that case. Or if somebody's entered a new work order, that work order would then show up in your email, and you'd have a link to that work order to see what it was. We also have the ability to send what are called push notifications and SMS messages or text messages to your mobile device. So when we send it to a mobile device as a text, we still have the links. So because it fully supports mobile devices, the link can then let you click from your mobile device directly into Acumatica, see the information that's occurring. The Acumatica Cloud ERP provides dashboard and business intelligence for every department and role within the organization. I go to the manufacturing dashboard. This is an example of the manufacturing dashboard where I can keep an eye on things like late production orders, top WIP values, assemblies that need to be built. And again, these are just coming right out of the box, and then you can then tweak these to match the environment that you're looking for. Each one of these tiles allows me to drill down to receive detailed information about that particular area. So in my case, let's talk about bill of material for a moment. I'm going to go to my favorites and jump into bill of material. And I'm going to grab the first one, which happens to be a printed circuit board. You'll notice right away underneath the ID, we also have a revision. Acumatica fully supports revisions as well as storing that revision history. We do also provide full engineering change control with an approval process when needed. In the center of the screen, we have the different operations, routings, or some people call them process, that is required to make this finished good. In our example, we have an assembly and a final assembly that will be required. You can see that each one of these operations is taking place at a different work center or cost center, which is this column right here. At that work center, you have the ability to define the standard labor rate, setup, machines, etc. You also tell it whether you're going to be backflushing labor for that particular work center. At the bottom of the screen, we show the material that's required to build this finished good. These materials could also be sub-assemblies with their own unique bills of material as well. Beyond just the materials and their quantities and unit of measure, we can start to inform the shop floor workers about the different tests that they need to perform at that operation. One of the things I wanted to bring up was the document management that's built in to Acumatica. For instance, on this work center, you see I've got a little page that's lit up here. If I click on it, it's a document that has our fabrication procedures within the organization. What's nice is they can be standardized and they become part of the system. Now down here, as I mentioned before, when we were talking to the steps with the employee, if I click on steps, I've got a description here. It says, place resistors as shown on drawing. All of these things appear in the work order packet that you generate for the work order within the system. At this point, if there was a special way of placing resistors, I could actually take a picture of it and attach that to this particular line. Documents are stored inside Acumatica at both the line level and the document level. Tooling and overhead can be defined here on the bill of material as well. So I'm going to use this bill and go and create a production order. One of the things I wanted to bring up is if you watch the system, every place that has a input that's verified against the database, it does what's called type ahead. So when I start typing in the part number, it starts trying to find the closest match. And there's my item. I also could have typed in printed or circuit board, and it would have found it that way as well. I'm going to take all the defaults. Notice it's a status of planning. I'm going to make one, and then I'm just going to enter the circuit board, and we're just going to make the one as I said. Acumatica can reference the timing entered for each operation in the bill of material to come out with start and end date for the order. It'll do backward scheduling. We can also use fixed manufacturing lead time if we prefer to enter one manually. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And if I look at my event history, you'll see that I've created that the order has been created and it's in its plan mode. This field here for the event history is updated in real time. So as the shop order walks through the plant, each step that occurs is updated automatically to this line. If I go to actions and I release the order, you've noticed it now went from planned to released, and it updated the event history. In other words, what we're planning, we're done planning, and we're ready for this to be heading out to the shop floor. I will see that in real time as the new line appears in the status change. The total tab on my production order gives me visibility into my job costs. On the left-hand side, I can see everything that we planned on based on the bill of material. How much labor, how much material, how much overhead costs will go into this particular order. As we go out and actually perform the work on the shop floor, we will start to see these costs appear in our actual column. We can collect shop floor data through scanning devices, and there's any number that can be used, or by having your employees enter the time and material entries on the back end. We can also backflush labor, as I mentioned earlier, and we can backflush material within Acumatica. On the right-hand side, you'll be able to measure your production variance for all of your orders along the way. At this point in the process, I can use Acumatica to look into my material availability. If I go to Inquiries and Critical Material, Acumatica will show me materials that I need to purchase to accommodate this production order. I could also use the MRP module, which I'm going to show briefly, to do just-in-time inventory purchasing and planning as well. Here I can select the item that happens to be the resistor. What I can do right from this screen is it'll then turn around and create my purchase order. And here's the purchase order that was created. In my environment, I have it set that all purchase orders need to be approved. So I'm just going to take it off a hold, and I'm going to approve it. A couple of things that can be done on the purchasing, even though this is the purchasing demo, is we could actually print it out, or we could actually send, for instance, we can email the purchase order to the vendor to make sure that they get it right away. Once you release the purchase order, then the inventory is available for the work order, and we can go back to the work order and do the releases and the updates. If you happen to be backflushing your materials instead, this particular step might be skipped because then you do material transactions, which allows you to keep track of the system. One thing I wanted to mention also is that the system does fully support serial numbers and lot numbers. So as material is issued to the job, it will then assign the lot number or serial number based on the rules that you've set. You can have it set to pull the next available item from the stock, or you can set it so that you have to manually choose which serial number you'll be using. So if I go back to my favorites, and I'll take a look to that item that I finished. Here's a production order for the exact same item we were looking at. If I go to event history, You'll see all of the history that's been assigned to it. There's been moves and labor. If I look at totals, it shows me here's my planned costs, here's my actual costs, and then a calculated variance within it. Finally, I'd like to take a moment and take a real quick look at MRP. Now, the first thing that people have to do is they have to regenerate their MRP in the system. I'm not going to do that right now, but one of the things I did want to bring up on this screen is you'll see this little clock here. You'll see that throughout Acumatica. What that is that gives you access to what is called our automation schedule. And what it allows you to do is you can set up a schedule to automate any number of things. You can set it up in invoicing, for instance. If you invoice throughout the day, you can actually have the schedule set up to automatically print those invoices at 3 o'clock, let's say. Or in this case, I can set the automation schedule for the regeneration of MRP to be done every night at, let's say, 11 o'clock. So that way it's constantly run, it's ready whenever I get in the door. I don't have to physically go in and tell it to do something. The other thing I wanted to bring up on there was the MRP display. What this is an action report, action screen. And it's showing you these are all the things that have to happen. Gives you the quantity. It tells you whether it's a purchased item or a manufactured item. It gives you your action date and promise date. If I click on the button, I can depending on the items I select, I can create purchase orders automatically from this screen or manufacturing orders directly from the screen. So obviously there's some control that goes into it, but you can react very quickly to the things that are happening here. Basically, what I wanted to leave us with is some key benefits within the system. It is cloud-based. You can collaborate internally across the supply chain. When I say collaborate internally, that's the notifications I referred to, where we can talk about sending instant messages through the phone and sending emails automatically. All the data analytics are real time. So you're not waiting for updates to run once or twice a day. It's happening as you're doing the particular item. It does a reduction of operational administration inventory costs because you can automate quite a few things, which gives, of course, increased productivity and quality. Automation is the key to this whole thing, and mobility. So if you're in the field, you can actually use a mobile device to connect into Acumatica and check on the status of orders. You can check on the status of production orders. You can check on the status of customer orders. So in the field, you have that ability to be as informed as possible. With that, I'd like to hand it back to Derek.
All right, great. Thanks, Bob. And let me go ahead and get the rest of my slides back up here for you. And, all right, great. So let's go ahead and get to those questions like I was promising before. We did have a couple of questions that came in, so I will go ahead and start with one for Jay so that Bob gets a chance to grab a quick drink of water or whatnot. So it was related to the licensing. It says, is there a separate license requirement to use the mobile app that you mentioned?
No, there is not. It's part of the overall applications, and what you can determine as to whether any application, either I would like to include that on the mobile app, or for whatever reason you may not wish to do that. But no, it's all set up, and all the screens that you see here, they are they're reconfigured so that they do fit the device that you're working with, and it's included as part of the software.
All right, excellent, thank you. It's a unique licensing model. I know I'm personally come from a background of users or processor types of situations or device licensing, so it does take a couple of moments to figure out, like, how does that work again? Right, so totally get it. All right, great. The next question is, you may have already covered this, but do we have to use their cloud services, or can we stay on our own servers? Bob, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Basically, the cloud server that they of choice is the Amazon, but you have the ability to use Azure, or you can use your own private one. They really have no rules regarding that, so you have the flexibility of doing it, as well as they mentioned earlier. If somebody has wants to do it on site, they actually can do that on site as well.
Okay, great.
And I might add to that is that you've got the cloud, and if you choose to go that route, all of the really maintenance and updates with regards to the Microsoft products and things like that are taken care of, the backups. So a lot of the things that you would normally be required to do on your own, should you have it on site, are in fact part of the subscription price that you would find when you're going to the.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. Yes.
All right, great. Okay, next question is, do the dashboards that you're showing come with it, or is there an additional expense for that, or is there fees for them being customized?
Sure. The dashboards come standard with the system. There's about 30 dashboards that come in. They're basically the results of people saying, okay, what does a controller want to look at? What does a production manager want to look at? They're no means are they the only ones you can have, but they're a good starting point, and they are included.
All right, excellent. And the final question is, can the automation schedule be used for any report generation, or just the ones you showed?
Yes. There is every report that has a scheduler button on it, so they can be. You can, for instance, if you want an open order report, let's say when you walked in at your desk, you could actually schedule it to run before you come into the office.
Great. Awesome. All right, great. That's the end of our questions, it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and keep the party moving here. So just a quick roundup of next steps for everybody. First and foremost, thanks for coming to this particular presentation. If you're interested in some additional information or a more customized just demonstration based off of your business and your environment, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd be happy to have a little bit deeper dive conversation as to how your company can utilize this product for your business needs today, but more importantly, for the future, right? We want to make sure that you're all set for any future growth or changes to your organization. Gonna urge you to subscribe to our newsletters. If you're on this, if you're here, guess what? I'm adding you. So feel free to opt out if you don't want it. But obviously, we send out an email every couple of weeks. We pride ourselves on being pretty on the edge of what's going on for current topics, and we like to create a lot of content around that kind of stuff. So lots of opinions to share based off of our experience. So feel free to use that. Like I said, we're pride ourselves on being trusted advisors to our partners, and so that's such, we try to be as on top of things as we can to help you guys as you find situations. That said, we keep our website pretty evergreen as well. So lots of new blog content and all of these webinars that we do. You'll be able to find all that stuff out there as well. So feel free to use donas.com as a hub for any information that you might need, not just on Acumatica, but about manufacturing, distribution, all of these things related to the industry. And obviously, we try to do these lunch and learn events at least once a month. So we'll be sending out email invitations as those come around. If it's a topic that you might be interested in, please feel free to join us again. We'd love to have you. So with that said, thanks for your time. And if you need anything else, feel free to give us a ring or shoot us an email. We'll be happy to help you out. Enjoy your lunch. Thanks, guys.